Penguin promenade. Do penguins really carpool to work?
All right, think of the busiest highway during rush hour. Now, replace the cars with penguins, and you've got something almost as organized, a penguin highway. Penguins may not carpool in the human sense, but they do have special paths they follow when heading to and from the ocean. These flightless birds need to head to the sea to hunt for their favorite meals, like fish and krill. But penguins don't just waddle off any which way. They create well-worn paths in the snow and ice, kind of like nature's highways, that all the penguins in a colony will use. This helps them save energy since they're using a path that's already been cleared by fellow penguins. Think about it as following a track on a busy sidewalk that's free of snow, so you don't have to trudge through it. Penguins go back and forth on these paths so much that they become smooth and polished, like icy tunnels on a frozen landscape. These clever commutes show that even animals have smart travel hacks for their daily routines.
Underwater rainbows? Can fish really change gender?
Imagine changing your whole identity like you change clothes. Sounds wild, right? But for some fish, it's just another day in the ocean. Take the clownfish or the wrasse. They can swap their gender if they need to. How's that for a fishy transformation? This happens mostly when there's a need to balance out their numbers, like if there's only one gender left in their group. The biggest and most dominant female clownfish in the group lays all the eggs. But if she's gone, things have to change. The largest male will then turn into a female to take her place, and a new male steps up as her mate. And this switch isn't just about looks. It's a total inside-out change from what's on the inside to how they act. Scientists think this ability evolved to make the most out of breeding and to ensure that these sea creatures keep their populations stable. It's all about survival in the vast ocean. And gender-bending fish have found one heck of a unique way to tackle the challenge.
Ever seen a fish climb a tree? Meet the mud skipper's mind-boggling tricks.
Imagine you're walking by a swampy mangrove forest and you spot a fish climbing a tree. You might think you're seeing things, but there's actually a type of fish that can do just that. It's called the mud skipper, and it's no ordinary fish. Mud skippers are super unique because they can live both in the water and on land, using their strong, muscular fins to skip around the muddy shores. But wait, it gets even better. These little acrobats can actually climb trees and mangrove roots thanks to their suction cup-like fins. Now you might wonder, how do these guys breathe if they're hanging out on land so much? Mud skippers have special gills that stay moist, allowing them to take in oxygen directly from the air, just like you and me. Plus, they can also absorb oxygen through their skin from the water they store in their gill chambers. So these fish are not just daredevil climbers. They're breathing masters of the land and sea. Talk about a fish out of water that's totally in its element.
Nature's sweet trick. Is chocolate made from a fruit?
You might think of chocolate as a sweet treat or a candy, but did you know it actually starts from a fruit? Yes, you heard that right, a fruit. Let's talk about the magic behind your favorite chocolate bar. It all begins with a tree called Theobroma cacao, which literally means food of the gods. This special tree grows pods filled with seeds, and it's these seeds that are used to make chocolate. Around the seeds is a sweet and tangy white pulp, which might not be what you picture when you think of chocolate. To turn these seeds into chocolate, people dry them, roast them, and then grind them up. Mix in some more ingredients, and voila, you've got chocolate. It's pretty amazing that something as delicious as chocolate comes from a plant. And next time you bite into a chocolate bar, think of the cacao fruit and its journey from a tropical tree to becoming part of your favorite dessert. Chocolate may be a guilty pleasure for many, but it's rooted, quite literally, in the heart of nature's bounty.
Is there a frozen treasure hidden underneath the earth? The ice that burns.
What if I told you there's a kind of ice that actually catches fire? Sounds like magic, but it's a real substance called methane hydrate. It's basically methane gas that's trapped inside ice crystals, and it's found deep under the sea and in the Arctic permafrost. When you bring this ice to the surface, it looks like regular ice. But here's the wild part. If you hold a match to it, it ignites and burns with a flame. That's because the methane gas inside the ice is highly flammable. Scientists are super interested in methane hydrates because they contain more potential energy than all the world's other fossil fuels combined. Imagine powering up whole cities with this strange icy resource. However, there's a catch. Extracting this fire ice is tricky and can be risky for our planet because methane is a greenhouse gas way more potent than carbon dioxide. So, as cool as burning ice sounds, we've got to be careful with this hidden, flammable treasure tucked away under the earth.
Can bees detect bombs? The buzzing detectives with a nose for danger.
Believe it or not, bees could be nature's answer to detecting bombs. These buzzing insects have an amazing sense of smell, way better than dogs. Scientists have trained bees just like sniffer dogs to detect explosive materials. The method? They give the bees a sweet reward like sugar water when they sniff out the scent they're trained to find. This training takes only minutes, unlike the months it does for dogs. Here's how it works. When trained bees are released in an area, if they smell explosives, they'll stick out their proboscis, which is like their tongue because that's what they do when they expect a reward. Researchers can watch the bees and see when they give this signal, pinpointing the dangerous stuff's location without a single buzz of harm. So next time you see a bee, remember they're not just keepers of honey, but could potentially be tiny heroes keeping us safe from hidden dangers.
Volcanoes spitting out diamonds. The fiery secret of glittering gems.
You might associate diamonds with glitz and glamour, but did you know these shiny stones can come from something as rough and rumbling as a volcano? That's right, some diamonds are shot out of volcanoes. These special gems form deep inside the earth under super high pressure and heat. Occasionally, they hitch a ride to the surface in a type of volcanic eruption that happens when deep source volcanic pipes, also known as kimberlite pipes, explode. These eruptions are so fast and powerful, they can blast diamonds at speeds of over 200 miles per hour. Now, don't go standing next to a volcano hoping to catch diamonds instead of ashes. This kind of eruption is super rare, and when it does happen, the diamonds are mixed with other rocks and debris. It takes a keen eye and lots of sifting to find them once everything cools down. So while we can't exactly mine for diamonds in the blast zone, it's still a sparkling little secret that shows Mother Nature really likes to dazzle us with her treasures.
Ants that are addicted to candy? The sweet life of honeypot ants.
Have you ever been told not to eat too much candy or you'll turn into it? Well, for honeypot ants, that's kind of what happens. These tiny insects live in deserts and dry places, where food can sometimes be super hard to find. To survive, they've developed a wild strategy. Some of the ants turn into living storage containers, or repletes, for the sweet nectar they collect. When food is plentiful, these ants gobble up as much nectar as they can and store it in their swollen, see-through bellies. They get so full that they can't even move. They're like little six-legged candy jars. The rest of the colony then relies on these bloated buddies during the hard times, gently squeezing their bellies to get a drop of the stored nectar. It's a fantastic example of teamwork in the insect world. But think about it. Imagine if your friends could snack on sweets from your tummy? Eek, that might not be so fun at your next party.
Why can parrots talk like humans? A party trick of the bird world.
Imagine if your pet could chat back to you. Well, if you have a parrot, that's not so far from the truth. Parrots are one of the few animals that can mimic human speech. But how? Unlike us, parrots don't have vocal cords. They've got a special voice box called a syrinx that's way down in their throat, not up in their beaks. With their syrinx, they can control the air that flows through it and change the shape and depth of their throat to make different sounds. They're like feathery impressionists. Parrots do this to fit in. In the wild, they copy calls of their flock to communicate. In our homes, they try to be part of our human flock by imitating our words. While it might seem like these clever birds are holding a conversation, they're usually repeating words without knowing what they mean. But hey, it's still super impressive and makes them the life of the party. Or should we say the parody?
Light bulb moment. Could electric cars once outrun horses?
Think electric cars are a super modern invention? Think again. The first electric cars appeared in the 1800s. That's right, when horses were the popular way to get around, some people were already driving on electricity. So, why didn't these early electric cars stick around back then? Let's take a quick ride into the past. In the late 19th century, electric cars were actually preferred because they were easier to start and much quieter than their noisy gasoline rivals. They didn't need a hand crank to start and had no issues with bad horse smells or street pollution. They even set speed records, with one reaching a whopping 65 miles per hour in 1899, a speed that would make a horse's mane fly back in disbelief. However, better roads and cheaper oil prices eventually made gasoline cars more popular, so the electric vehicle took a back seat for a while. Now electric cars are making a major comeback, promising a cleaner, lightning-fast future. So who knows? Maybe horses were the original electric car fans.